belly flopping into an underground puzzle-filled sewer, learning the proper way to clean up alien entrails, and zombies in space. All this and more today on Locked On. Our first game today is called Cubicity, developed by Brush and Code, two indie developers that have actually never met each other, but they have a passion for games that have driven them to create this little gem of a game. Cubicity is a 2D physics-based puzzle game. You take on the role of Seamus, this little chunky, round, curious child of a man who thinks it'd be a great idea to dive into a hole that says "do not enter." But let's face it, as human nature goes, we would all have done the same thing. Sadly, his little adventure takes him into an underground lair of an evil doctor who wants to put him through his trials in a bunch of brain-twisting and brain-killing levels. Playing through the game, I found this game to be very, very enjoyable. In fact, I was actually sad when the demo ended. The demo allows you to go through a handful of the levels in the first world of Cubicity. I didn't want it to stop. I am highly thinking about actually buying the full game just to see how my brain would work in the rest of the stages. Messing up actually brings consequences. In many puzzle games, you have ways of fixing problems if you mess up. But in this game, if you mess up, you actually get trapped and you have to restart the entire thing over because there's nothing else you can do. Which, to me, I think that's a great thing because it makes you have to think about every step you take in order to get to the next part of the level, or in any case, the next level, period. It really makes your brain really think outside the box to be able to get through the levels. It's not your average, everyday puzzle where you can think, oh, this is obvious. No, some of these things will actually make you think, oh, that's how you did it. And it makes you really have to put on your thinking cap in order to get to the next part. And the best thing about it is controller friendly. You can plug in your Xbox 360 or Xbox One if you have one of those already, or your PS3 or PS4 controller. Plug them in and play because it automatically detects it once you have your Motion Joy hooked up and you're ready to roll. The only bad thing that I can really say about the game from what I played is that even with the controller, the buttons just seem to be a little difficult for me. I think it would have been easier to have the main buttons on like the X, circle, triangle, square kind of deal in the pad instead of using all of the bumper buttons, because I found myself many times switching between guns when I didn't want to and end up using things I didn't have to and ended up getting myself caught right in the middle of the level. Then again, that could just be me. I'm not the best puzzler in the world, so this could be me derping around in this lovely little game. Some of the things that really got my blood pumping, though, is you get to think with portals in a 2D realm. That's right. You actually get their version of the portal gun about midway through the demo. And you have to start learning how to use the portal gun quickly. There's no real tutorial. It says you point, you click, and you go from there. And the puzzles involving the portal gun will really make you think about every step you have to take. I got stuck for the only real time in the first actual portal level. And it just goes back to what I said. You make a mistake, you have to pay for it, and you have to start over. Which is awesome. It made me laugh. It made me actually feel really, well, you understand. And the bad guy of this entire game, the evil doctor that actually traps you inside his underground lair, his design and the way he looks, to me, just makes me absolutely love him. I love the character design of this guy, and I look forward to seeing what else this evil doctor has in store for poor Seamus. In closing, it's a great game. Very brain twisty. I'm going to make that word up right now. It's brain twisty because it will make you think on your feet 24/7. You cannot go through this game with your brain turned off like a lot of games can. You have to be ready to go the moment you walk into Cubicity. You can go to their main website, which is cubicitygame.com. I have the link in the description below. You can buy it standalone from their website, or you can buy it through Viscera. They also have it on Steam for their Greenlight project, so make sure you go down and tell Steam you want this game on Steam. Really fun game, really good game. Make sure you go check it out, cubicitygame.com.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is ABeardedSage bringing you your next indie game to watch out for. I introduce to you Viscera, Cleanup Detail. Now, Viscera is a very interesting game, one that I have never run across before in my life. It is a space janitor simulator. Yeah, you heard me right. Space Janitor Simulator. Now, I'll tell you right now, going into this game, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I mean, sure, Space Janitor. I expected space. I expected being a janitor. But being a janitor in the aftermath of a horrible battle between aliens and space marines is just as gory, as bloody, and as rage-inducing as you may or may not imagine it to be. This game was brought to us by the fantastic developers at RuneStorm. Nolan Richard, Arn Richard, and Logan Richard. All of them are brothers, I do so believe, and they got their start as an independent game developer based in South Africa in 2004 when they released a mod for Unreal Tournament called the Ballistic Weapons mod. Now this actually turned into one of the most popular and acclaimed mods of the game. They then went on to win various prizes in the Make Something Unreal contest for Unreal Tournament 3, including first prizes for the weapons and characters, as well as second place for weapons. With their experience concerning the Unreal Engine, they decided to try their hand at creating various games, one of which you see before you today, Viscera Cleanup Detail. Now, this game, I cannot explain to you exactly what it is that makes this game so addicting. It is cathartic. It is enjoyable. It is rage-inducing at times, and it is unbelievably bloody and gory. I mean, maybe you would expect that considering that there was just a battle between aliens and space marines, but running across various body parts, people's torsos, and all sorts of unknown bloody body parts that I couldn't even begin to identify is ridiculous, but it very quickly becomes commonplace, and you find yourself wishing nothing more than that the Marines had less blood in their bodies to get all over the place. This is a very realistic simulator. When you use the mop eventually becomes so bloody that you're going to have to rinse it out in water. And rinsing it out in a bucket of water eventually makes that bucket so bloody that you're going to have to get rid of it and get yourself a new one. All the different giblets of people and bullet casings, of which there are many. I mean, considering the type of battles that are being waged on these space stations, you can probably expect as such. All of those have to be picked up individually and put into various buckets and then disposed of in a furnace. Now, knocking over these buckets means that these bloody body parts or teeny tiny shell casings can be scattered across the entire station. Fortunately, there are various items, including a trash locator, which allows you to find the different smaller pieces, or maybe the various blood stain that is inconveniently located on a ceiling somewhere, which allows you to clean everything up and at least find out what it is that is keeping this space station from being pristine condition. Now, believe me, there are things all over the place. There are incredibly obvious piles of gore and blood to various splatters and scorch marks on ceilings and walls that blend into the background. So there's all sorts of things that can trick you, and then other things that are so painfully obvious that you're going to have a hard time missing them. The game is rather fun. It is incredibly cathartic. There's something nice about seeing this horribly disgusting place slowly cleaned up by your actions. There's no real cheating. You walk around with a mop, a bucket, a trash bin, and a world of patience and turn this blood-filled hellhole into a wonderful new fresh space station, ready for its next shipment of space marines and aliens to once again turn it into a gory mess. You can only hope that next time someone else is going to be stuck on cleanup duty. But for now, you are the space janitor that the world needs. Viscera Cleanup Detail. You can check out the alpha version for free download. They've got an amazing new co-op mode in the most recent version. Head to their website, check it out. It's an interesting game. It's quite fun. I enjoyed myself immensely. And you can, if you really like it, you can buy the basic version. Now, the game isn't finished, but you'll get access to all the different alphas as they release them. The game is Steam greenlit, so they're going to come up with the full version as soon as they can get it all worked out. Right now, it's only $7 if you buy it on the website. I believe it's about the same price if you buy it on Steam Greenlight. And it's definitely worth checking out. They've already added a mod to Shadow Warrior, so if you get the game and you have Shadow Warrior, you can actually experience Viscera cleanup detail in a Shadow Warrior map after one of those incredibly brutal and bloody battles takes place. Now, if you've ever played Shadow Warrior, you know the cleanup detail in the aftermath of any of those fights is going to be unbelievably long and ridiculously messy. Viscera Cleanup Detail, the world's first and only space janitor simulation game. Like I said before, it's completely free, so if you want to check it out, you have nothing to lose and potentially hours of fun to gain.
A new game to hit the beta market is the Effin Dead. It has its very first official beta out for testing right now. The Effin Dead has been developed by the Short and the Tall, two guys from Italy, Alessio, the short one, and Alberto, the tall one. Effin Dead is a third-person zombie survival game in space. It has all the feelings of a Resident Evil game, which is what the Short and the Tall one were aiming for, and it has all the tasty goodies that you would want in a zombie survival game. You have upgradable weapons, you have a vast array of guns, you have different zombie types, and you have an array of puzzles that will keep you guessing the entire time while you're fighting through what seems to be a random space station in the middle of nowhere. The game actually looks pretty beautiful for just entering the beta field. They've had a couple of closed betas beforehand, but this is their first one to actually give out to the crowds to try and play and bug test, and the game actually looks really pretty. It's a little flat for my taste and for the color schemes, but that does not take away from the scenic beauty of the ship that you're traveling around in. The jump scares in this game happen, not too often, but often enough to keep you on your toes. Some of the jump scares come strictly from the sound effects. Sometimes you'll have a zombie come up from behind you and give you a bear hug from behind. It just depends on what part of the game you're in. There's multiple zombie types. So far, I've run into two. You have your typical little zombie that lurches towards you in a very slow pace. And then you have your armored zombies that actually can leap ahead and try to jump out and grab you if you don't stun them in time. Really cool style of zombie killing action. And speaking of killing action, they have a knifing execution animation installed into the beta, where when you stun a zombie and they fall into the ground, you can actually perform an execution using this giant blade that you draw as if from nowhere. And the difficulty actually ramps up after the first level. The first one gives you your bearings, lets you explore a little bit, learn how the controls work, see how fun it is to shoot a zombie in the head and watch his head explode over the wall. But then when you get to the next part of the game, they start throwing zombies at you like they're going out of style. And that's what I really liked. But the best thing about the zombies is they're smart. Some of the zombies' AI is actually really intelligent. I had some zombies ducking out of the way to dodge my bullets. I had some swaying to and fro, left and right, so I couldn't get a beat on him before he tried to leap out and latch on to me. So the AI that they've developed for these zombies is really top notch. I'm looking forward to seeing what other zombie types they create as the game develops. A few things I hope they tweak in future releases are the main character you're playing as needs an inhaler. After the first part of the game, he seems to be breathing a lot, and it kind of wears on the nerves when he's breathing constantly. If it was subtle, it'd be okay, but he's literally breathing in your ear the entire time. I'm sure there's just a little tweak they have to do, or it might be something that happened in my game alone. I don't know. All I know is the breathing is really loud, and it gets worse as you start running around. He never actually stops. He's a mouth breather. You know those kind of guys that sit in the back of class and they're just breathing through their mouths in and out, long, drawn out breaths? Just a small little tweak they can do. Some of the sound effects on top of that were actually kind of annoying, like the blinking lights at the beginning of the game. The sound effect on it didn't sound like a blinking light. It just sounded like this really annoying chirp that kept going on and on and on and on. It's a little thing they can tweak when it comes to the sounds. As much as I love the knife execution, and I have no doubt that they have this planned out, this is just me verbalizing my opinion, is that they need to show more ways of execution. Right now, there's only one way you can execute them when they're on the ground, and it's fun and as exhilarating as it is to just stab a zombie through the skull when he's on the ground. I'm looking forward to seeing other forms of it, maybe getting behind him and knifing their head off, or him just doing a different little acrobat when he goes. But beta is beta, so this is just me pointing out a few things. And the last thing in the negative section, this is a zombie survival horror, and there's a lack of blood. I mean, I know the blood kind of pours out once you blow their heads off and whatnot, but there needs to be more. There's just nothing more exhilarating than seeing blood splatter everywhere once you finally take down those zombies that's been hunting since the beginning of the level. More blood, please. Now, some of the things that just blew my mind in epicness when it came to this game was the running and gun style that you have to do. You cannot reload on the fly. You have to stand still and reload, bring an extra added level of difficulty, which I like. I like difficulty in my games. You have to stand still to reload, and it leaves you vulnerable for a few seconds while your character is reloading it. I'm sure as unlockables and upgradables come down the road, I'm sure you'll be able to unlock reload speeds and all that good stuff for each gun and weapon, but for right now, I love it. I wouldn't change that. And the running and gun style you have to do to get out of there, shoot, turn around, run, put your gun back up. There's no auto shoot. You have to look down the barrel of the gun, which again, to me, a very nice touch, very, very good feature. And the humor in the game, to me, is great. I got through the first part of the level with it pretty quickly because I wanted to get some footage shot, and the little screen that popped up says, "You didn't effing die." I almost lost it. It was hilarious. I love the humor that they try to squeeze in here for this survival game. And to top it all off, the shotgun's OP. The shotgun is absolutely amazing. It's so satisfying to use it against the horde of zombies that attacks you in that little room where you're trying to get back to the puzzle you just unlocked. There's so many of those zombies after you, and that shotgun just helps you it's great. I love the shotgun. I cannot wait to see what other guns they develop when the game continues. This game has a lot of promise, and it does not have the recognition it deserves. Not many people know about it, so I am here to change that. People, go to this comment section below. Tell us how much you love the game shown here today. Make sure you go to the description box. Make sure you click on the link to go get the beta for Effin Dead. Make sure you go try it out. And that'll wrap things up for us today here on Locked On. Make sure you hit the subscribe button above. Make sure you go check out the games that we talked about listed below. And make sure you come back next time for all things indie. I'm your boy Raven, and you are officially Locked On.